Hi and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. Hope you guys are all having yourself a great Sunday. It is Sunday. I know you lose track of the days during this lockdown, but it is Sunday, and I hope you guys are having a great and relaxing day. Let's take a look at what has been happening today in the world of football. Loads of rumours as usual. I'm going to kick off with this one because we were discussing this one a few days ago. We were also discussing this on the All Guns Blazing podcast, which if you haven't seen that yet, make sure you go and check that out today. It's absolutely brilliant. But we were talking, me and DT, about Saliba, William Saliba. Of course, the French league has been cancelled. They've awarded the title, of course, to PSG. They've sent teams down. They've decided on the top four, etc. But the league has been cancelled. Now, Saliba, as we know, is an Arsenal player who's out on loan. We bought him last summer and immediately loaned him straight back to St Etienne, where he's been playing. He's had a bit of a mixed season, a lot of injuries in that season. But when he has played, he's looked very, very good. Now, the talk was that with the season being cut short and his contract with St Etienne running out on the 30th of June, that he'd be able to return back and possibly play for Arsenal because, of course, they're looking to get the season resumed over here. And if that happens, which would probably be in June, he might be eligible to play some of the games. Well, we're being told today that that will not happen. He will be able to come back and link up with the Arsenal team. He will be able to train with them once they all start training together, etc. He is now officially going to be back as an Arsenal player. However, he won't be able to play in any of the further games from now till the end of the season. So those people who were dreaming of him helping out the defence in those last 10 games that we're going to have to play, that will not happen. But he will be able to be in and amongst the squad and get a good sort of training and understanding of the players in pre-season, like an almost extended pre-season with the team, which then means hopefully by the time we get to next season, he will be able to start the season flying, which would be good news for Arsenal because, as I said, he has had a few injury problems at PSG, at St Etienne. Kieran Tierney is an interesting one. Of course, we bought him last summer. A lot of us were really excited when we got him in. Bought him in from Celtic, of course, where for all you people who keep, I hear people moaning, even in me myself sometimes saying, oh, the Scottish League, blah, blah, blah. But he did look decent. Every time I saw him play, good crosser of the ball, looked quick. Really, you could see the potential of a really, really good player. However, he's had an injury nightmare in his first season. I mean, he's missed most of the games. He, of course, had that dislocated shoulder, which has ruled him out for a very, very long time. He would be possibly back fit now because originally they were saying he was going to be out until the start of March. But Tierney's, there's a lot of interest from Leicester for Kieran Tierney. Now, Brendan Rodgers, of course, used to manage him when he was at Celtic, knows all about him. There's a lot of rumours, and we were sort of talking to Lee Chappie from Leicester Fan TV about this on Friday, that Leicester might sell Ben Chilwell. And if they do sell Ben Chilwell, they'll obviously get a lot of money for him. And Brendan Rodgers is very, very interested in Kieran Tierney. Now, we don't know what the situation is with Kieran Tierney and the new manager, which is Mikel Arteta, because he's not really played under him yet. There were these rumours that Arsenal were trying to buy Lervin Kazawa, who's not buy him, but get him in on a free transfer, as his contract has run out at PSG, and he's a left back. We've got Kolasinac there, another left back, and also Saka, who's been doing a great job at left back as well, can also play there. So could Arsenal possibly cash in on Kieran Tierney? I hope not. I don't think so. I can't see how that would make any sense. To me, he's had an injury hit season. He's hardly figured. We've not really been able to see the best of him. We got to give him next season to see what he can do. And I truly believe he can be a top player at Arsenal. But it's going to be really interesting because, as I said, it's not Mikel Arteta's signing. Mikel Arteta might not fancy him, might not suit the system. For me, for what Mikel Arteta is looking to try to do, he does suit the system. He does suit what Mikel Arteta is trying to do, which is that winger who can get up and down the pitch, cross the ball, beat players, you know, and defend well. And I think he meets all of that criteria. So I think he'll be staying, but these rumours persist around the place, not going away. And of course, Brendan Rodgers, we know, managed him at Celtic. What do you guys think? Keep Kieran Tierney or cash in? For me, 100% keep, but I'd love to get your opinions on the situation. And then, of course, there's Alexandre Lacazette. Has had a very indifferent season compared to last season, where he was the Arsenal player of the season. This year, it's not gone great for him at all. I think it's about 9 goals he scored. He's had a lot of games where he's missed chances. There's been the talk that he can't play with Aubameyang, which should be Aubameyang down the middle, not Lacazette. You know, he's really had a bit of a tough time this season. Although his work rate has been there, he's worked hard, but a tough time. And he's been getting linked with a couple of clubs. Now, the big club that he's getting linked with a lot is Atletico Madrid. Now, I saw this report today from, I've got to say, this reporter, never heard of him. And he's saying that apparently Lacazette has been speaking to Antoine Griezmann to get information about Atletico Madrid because he's interested in a move. Now, how this guy knows this, I really don't know. It just, to me, smacks of a made-up story, if I'm being 100% honest. And you know me, I always tell it as it is when it comes to these transfer rumours. But, of course, when these stories get out there, it doesn't stop everybody from speculating and talking about it. And, of course, Atletico Madrid originally tried to sign Alexandre Lacazette before he came to Arsenal. As a matter of fact, we only managed to pull off that signing because Atletico Madrid were handed a transfer ban and weren't able to sign anybody, a bit like what Chelsea got. And Arsenal swooped in and managed to get him from Lyon. So could he be on his way to Atletico Madrid? Could he be possibly part of a swap deal for Partey, which is another thing that's been spoken about? Certainly, Lacazette looks happy in London. He does look happy in London. He seems to really, really like it at Arsenal. I think he's had a bad season, yes, but I still think he can come good. I always see a lot of people saying, yeah, sell him. You know, we don't need him. I think they're mistaken. For starters, he's the one striker that can hold the ball up, which is a very important thing when you're playing football in the Premier League. He's a different type of striker, obviously, to Aubameyang. Aubameyang is just a lethal poacher. But I like Lacazette in the team. I think he's a good squad member as well. He's got a great relationship, of course, with Aubameyang and Pepe. So I'd like to see us keep him, but these rumours are going to persist. And will Arsenal cash in on him? You know what we're like. You know what I mean? Will we cash in on him? That we're going to have to wait and see. Now, very interestingly, I saw an interview yesterday with Tony Adams on Sky. He was talking about all things Arsenal. Of course, Tony Adams, the Arsenal legend. We could do with a centre-back like him right now. He used to be solid as a rock. Brilliant, brilliant centre-back. He was absolutely, you know, when you talk about leadership and solid at the back, that was Tony Adams. Epitomised everything that Arsenal's defence stood for at that time. But he was being asked on Sky yesterday about Arsenal. And he had some very interesting quotes. On Aubameyang, he was pretty clear. And this was his quote. He says, if I was the coach, I'd be saying, don't sell Aubameyang at any price. We need to recruit, bring players through the academy, and keep our best players. Those were the words of Tony Adams. It's exactly what I've been saying. Well done, Tony Adams. That is exactly what I'm saying. We should not be selling this guy at any price. We should be keeping hold of him and recruiting. Just like what Tony Adams says. You know, and he went on to talk about how it's annoyed him that Arsenal have almost become a selling club, which we are. We're a selling club. We never, ever keep hold of our best players. And this is where this is the real test for this board. Can we keep hold of our best players, especially with this coronavirus crisis going on? But we never, ever seem to be able to keep hold of our best players. And Tony Adams is completely right. We've become a selling club. And he said, he goes, Aubameyang is a brilliant player. What are we thinking of about selling him for? That's ridiculous, and I completely agree with him. So love to get an opinion on what you think about that, because I know there have been some people who said sell Aubameyang, sell Lacazette. I agree with Tony Adams, man. We've got to stop just every year selling our best players. Who are we now? Are we trying to be a great club, or are we just this sort of selling club now that, sells our best players, but season in, season out, charges their fans the highest ticket prices in Europe? Who are we? Let's get into some of your comments. Let's kick off with Ricky Vlogs. Thanks for the super chat. He says, hey, Don, Robbie, I'm Ricky, a true Arsenal fan. I have to say, if Aubameyang leaves Arsenal to go to Chelsea, do you think we will still sign and get Thomas Partey and Ousmane Edouard or Ousmane Dembele? Much love. I don't think we get Ousmane Dembele. It'd be way, way too expensive. Even though Barcelona will lose lots of money on him, they're trying to recoup as much as they possibly can. Plus, as well, we don't need him right now. We don't need Dembele. We've got players in that position, and he's too injury prone, always injured. Edouard obviously would be an option if we sold Aubameyang. He's not in the same grade, but that would be us selling a world-class player and then going and get somebody half the player. And Thomas Partey, who knows? I mean, at the moment, I can't see it being a deal where we buy him outright. I think it would have to be some sort of swap deal where a player going the other way. So that's what I'd say. That's what I'd say to that one. Let's get some more comments. Liverpool YNWA says most Arsenal fans won't know who Adams is. Yes, they do. There's a statue of him outside the Emirates. World-class player in his time. Trust me. Prince Efe says, Laka is a very potential player. I can see the spirit of Aguero in him. He hasn't got the goals of Aguero in him, but he's a top player. Top player, as Joseph says, very true. His work rate is superb. But I always say that, you know what, you can be going for a tough time. What I don't like about players when they're going for a tough time is when they're just down tools, and then you just don't see nothing else from them. You know what I mean? But Lacazette has worked and worked and worked. That's why he hasn't. That's why the fans haven't really got on his case. They can see that the guy's having a tough time, but they see him trying. Kalu says we need Laka. However, this guy Airmax says Lacazette has to go. I know you love him dearly, Robbie, but he's not lethal enough. But the thing is, I'm saying, right, we've got a lethal striker in Aubameyang. I'm saying we've got to keep both Aubameyang and Lacazette. Every top team, and this is what annoys me sometimes, even with some of our own fans. Oh, we got Aubameyang. What if Aubameyang gets injured? Every top team is supposed to have two top strikers. Every top team, right? So you keep him. What are we selling him for? You know? So what's this guy says? SB says that Liverpool fan can talk. Does he even know who Steve McManaman is? Like a good comeback, good comeback. James Fallon said he would sell Kolasinac and not Tierney. Again, we shouldn't be selling Tierney. I saw enough in Tierney to see that he's going to be a really top player, but it's just been, unfortunately, that he's had a lot of injuries. Sammy says, I'm from Germany and I rate Aubameyang highly. You have to keep him because he will probably have 2 great years in him. 100%. Cannot be selling Aubameyang. Bakri says, I will only let Laka go if we can get Partey. True. If Laka does go, it does have to be something like that. It does have to be a Partey coming in the other direction for me. Otherwise, it's not worth it. Ashan says, sell Laka. Salman says, if Aubameyang wants to leave, let him go. We can get Jovic. And this is what makes me laugh, right? So we're having a go at we're having a go at Lacazette for having a bad season. He scored more goals than Jovic this year. Jovic has been a disaster. When you think of his price tag, he's been an absolute disaster at Real Madrid, but yet let's get Jovic. Why? No, let's keep holding what Tony Adams says. Do not sell Aubameyang at this moment in time at any price. That's what I think. Aman says, Robbie, I think we should sell. No, we should. He says, think we should keep Xhaka, Torreira, and Guendouzi, I think he's saying there, and bring in one deep line midfielder for exact creativity. Luis Alberto of Lazio, very good player, be very expensive though, and should also buy a goal-scoring midfielder like Ramsey and Gini. Well, we had Ramsey, didn't we? And what did we do? Sold him. Again, as Tony Adams said, like we've become a selling club. Well, not even sold him, let his contract run down and go for nothing. Omar says Lacazette hasn't lived up to the hype he did last season. Hasn't this season. So, you know, do you get rid of a player if they've had one bad season? I don't think so. Sorry, I already did that one. Let's get into some others. Ooh, lots of comments coming in. Aj says, whoever wants to leave, the door is open. If only Arsenal can sell, I think he means only Arsenal can sell, says Fabregas, Sami Nasri, Robin Van Persie, and Alex Song. I'm still a fan no matter what. One day we shall be a giant again like we used to. Worry less, people. Well, no, I'm worried because as Tony Adams, who's a legendary Arsenal player, says, why are we such a selling club? What is it with us? What is it? How do you reach to the top if you sell your best players every year? You've just named that a load of names, right? And the common denominator with all of those names is that we've never won the league since any of those players are playing. And they're all players that could possibly have helped us to win the league, right? Or at least helped us to challenge for the league. But we sold them all. Why did we sell these players? Why, which other of the top teams sells all their best players? Someone just please tell me. You can't and stay on the top, especially in the Premier League. You might be able to get away with that in certain other leagues, right? Like maybe Holland and that, where, you know, Ajax can sell their best players year in, year out, but they're still the top club. They still got the most money. You just cannot keep selling your best players year in, year out and expect to do anything. This guy says, sorry, I can't get up on the screen at the moment, but he's got a Stan Kroenke emoji. It says, Stan Kroenke says, how are we today? Taking down Nick. Oh boy, I'll tell you, you know, this is it, man. The banter that surrounds us at the moment, because it's a big club, Arsenal, but we're just operating like a big club in name only sometimes. Trent says, Robbie, what happened to those inspirational videos you was doing on a weekly in 2019 on Insta? I was looking forward to those. Going to be doing some more of those, so those will be coming back. Thank you for reminding me about those, but I've been working on a few of those actually. Off says, why are we linked to everyone every transfer window? No transparency at this club. Well, we're going to get linked to everybody because, you know, Arsenal are a big club no matter what we think. Ishmeet says we should keep Lacazette and Tierney, and I agree with him on both counts. There's no way we should be thinking about selling Tierney. No way. JLPA says, Robbie, would you rather the Premier League cancelled and Arsenal get a Champions League, or we get the season finished but not guaranteed? Well, cancel it and give us the Champions League, of course. Yes, it's a guaranteed position, isn't it? So, you know. Winfred says, why can't we return to the good old days, Robbie? Well, to return to the good old days, you have to build. And building requires a couple of things. All of what Tony Adams said. You've got to have a good academy, which I think we have got, and we're getting, you know, good young players coming through. You've got to keep hold of your best players, and you've got to recruit well. Those three things, and have a good manager. 4 things. I think you've got those 4 things, you're on your way. But if you haven't got those 4 things, if you sell your best players, if players ain't coming through from the academy, you know, if the manager's no good, You've got no chance. I think we've got a good manager. Let's give him the tools and let's give him quality. You know, at the moment we've got quantity. We haven't got quality. This man says we shouldn't let Tierney go. He's a huge prospect for becoming the best left back in the future. I agree with that. I've liked what I've seen of him, definitely. Red Square said we need both of our left backs. We can't keep playing Saka there because Dortmund will offer him a forward role to reach his potential. This is how top quality players leave. Okay, and we've been looking at other left backs as well. Maybe that's the reason why because they want to push Saka further forward. Saka was filling in, but he filled in so well that you think to yourself, well, why not just keep him there in that position? You know what I mean? Because he's so good in there. SB said, after Mislintat left, I became hella worried. Well, look at the new guys. I was saying this yesterday. They've made some good signings. Tierney. That was these new guys' signings. It hasn't worked out because of injuries so far, but potentially, I think that's going to be a quality signing. Leno was a their signing. I think that was their signing. Leno. Pepe hasn't worked out, but it's his first season. But that was a good signing, an exciting signing that they made. Martinelli, that was the new guys' signings. So they made a few good signings, you know. I think Mislintat was Guendouzi, wasn't he? I'm not sure if he was Tierney. I think he might have been Tierney as well. I think Mislintat might have been Tierney and Guendouzi, which of course, again, Guendouzi, another good signing. But these guys bought us Martinelli. That's a very good signing, but they've also got to be able to keep hold of the best players. It shouldn't just be always, well, you can go and buy him, but you've got to sell him. What, the other clubs don't do that. The big clubs, they sell when they feel that player is no longer good enough, it doesn't suit them no more. That's when they sell. It doesn't suit what they're trying to do. But we have a great player, Van Persie, doing brilliantly, banging in the goals, sell. Fabregas, one of the best midfielders in Europe, come from nowhere, sell. Nasri comes in, brilliant in the Premier League, becoming one of the best midfielders in sell. Clichy, a left back, come in from nowhere. And who was this kid? He looks good. Sell. Aubameyang comes in. Boy, we're not sure if he'll do it. It came with a bit of a bad rep from Dortmund, even though he was scoring goals. Wow. First season, bangs him in. Second season, golden boot. Third season, he's banging the goals in. Looking to sell. Why? What's up with us? What's with this all the time? Our best players always through the door. Nah, that has to change if we are going to do anything. This guy says a Saliba Luiz will be a great partnership. I hope so, because we certainly need to sort out that defensive area. We really do. Georgie one for LCFC says plastic Arsenal fans want to sell their best players. Oh, we don't want to sell our best players. We want to keep hold of our best players. Ramin says, we don't know how much this pandemic is going to hurt Arsenal. Love from Iran. All right. Big up everybody over there in Iran. GG says, replacing Aubameyang would be impossible with our budget. Renewing should be the priority. We need to sell the dead wood. Easier said than done with their wages to improve the balance of the squad. He's spot on in everything he just said there. Absolutely spot on. This guy says, if Chelsea give Leicester 60 million for Chilwell and they offer 35 million for Tierney, can you be sure that the board won't accept that offer? No. No, you can't. You can't. Liam Talks Football says, Kroenke, it's time to go. Gonna get a couple more. Kenny says, Robbie, Arsenal cannot sell our top players, full stop. We have to build for the future. If we sell St. Lucian Gooners, we'll come to the Emirates, COVID-19 or not, and start a riot. Oh, boy. I can't find this to get it up on the screen, but it's from T. Hughes. I think he's from New Zealand. He says, if we sell Aubameyang and don't get an equivalent replacement, Do you think the banners and protests are in order to get our voices and concerns heard? Yes, I do. I think, if we sell Aubameyang and we don't replace him back and we keep, because it wouldn't be a knee-jerk reaction from the fans. How many more years is this going to go on for? Alexis Sanchez, another one, great player, coming, doing brilliant things. We sell it. How many more? Just look at it. All of this under Stan Kroenke's reign. Every single one of them. This gentleman says, if we lose Aubameyang and Lacazette, then why don't we try their best to get the likes of Cavani, who's much older than Aubameyang, or Mertens, who's much older than Aubameyang, on a free transfer, so we don't have much money. Free transfers as well. Remember the wages. David Luiz is on 120. Was very cheap, £120,000 a week. Kolasinac was a free transfer on 100 grand a week. When you get them on a free transfer, a lot of times they agree to come because you're going to pay them mammoth wages. Niall says, sell Laka, even though I fell in love with him, he will give us the advantage on money, and we can bring in a few younger players, e.g. 20-year-olds, and maybe even Partey. Bring in a 20-year-old, plays well, sell him. Let me ask you this question. Do you think if Martinelli continues on how he's playing at the moment, do you think, let's say Martinelli has a great season next year, do you think we can keep hold of him the following season? That's the question I'd like to ask you under this current regime. I'd like to ask everybody that. Gunner99 says Tierney is our best creator, even though he's played just 3 games. He's looked good, and there is no way we should even be entertaining the thought of selling him. No way. Omar said Martinelli will go. That's the question that I asked there. He says straight away, he's saying, no, Martinelli would be gone. And that's what I'm saying. If you can't hold your best players, what are you going to do? There's no point in going out and finding these great finds and then you just sell them. If you do, you're a selling club, just like what Tony Adams is saying. Luca Quarta, how you doing, Luca? He says Martinelli probably not. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be. I'd be a worried man. I'd be a worried man because I'm like, if the big offer comes in, we're going to sell him. AFC Pub Talk says, how is Arteta supposed to rebuild if we sell our best players and don't have the funds to replace them? 100%. It's going to be a testing time for Stan Kroenke. I don't think if we sell Aubameyang, I don't think people are going to wash and they ain't going to buy this whole thing about the coronavirus, even though it's a great reason and it is a genuine reason for why spending is cut back. If we sell Aubameyang and we don't get in a replacement on the same level, I don't think people are going to have this, oh, we ain't got no money, the coronavirus, but they ain't going to have it. They're going to be angry. We have to keep hold of our best players. Even if it's keeping hold of Aubameyang, we just try and just weather it out for the next season until we get to the end of the year and we get a load of those big earners off of the wage bill. But I do not think you can sell him and then turn around to fans and say, oh, money, they'll do it. This guy's a billionaire. And fans will be looking at it and say, well, where's your cash injection? Lord's Official says, we will not sell Martinelli. The board wants to sell Aubameyang, but Mikel Arteta will convince him to stay. Stan should believe in Arteta. We're all trying to believe in Arteta, but you can have the best manager in the world, right? You can have Pep Guardiola. If you don't give him the funds, he ain't winning nothing. End of. If he ain't getting the right players in. In Pep Guardiola's first season, remember, he didn't win nothing. And he had to overhaul the whole team. Remember, he was getting rid of people like Joe Hart and these, because he knew that these guys had reached the end and didn't suit what he wanted to do. Juan says, sell Laka and get Edouard or Dembele from Lyon. Dembele from Lyon would probably be more expensive than Laka. because he's been playing so well. Keep Aubameyang and get a centre-back. If we don't fix this centre-back problem, then Kroenke out. All right? Frosten just says Kroenke out anyway. So he's not having him. I'm going to do 2 more here. 2 more. BB says, without Aubameyang's goals, how are we getting back into the Champions League? There is nobody in the team with his goals, and we don't have the money to replace someone like him. That is exactly the point. You know, if the aim is to get into the Champions League, which you can tell by even the other day when they done that wage cut, the incentive was all about, right, we won't cut your wages if you get into the Champions League, right? But how are we supposed to get in there if you take out Aubameyang's goals and you don't replace them, you know? And final one here, Azza22 says, do you think this Nigerian will buy us, Robbie? That's Dangote. He said he wants to. The thing is about it is that you can have as much money in the world, but if the owner doesn't want to sell, which is what it doesn't look like at the moment, then, you know, and remember, Stan Kroenke now owns 100% of Arsenal. It is very important now that he stands up and takes responsibility as being that 100% owner and show us what you've got. How much do you love this club? Do you love it enough to put a serious cash injection in its time of need to get us back to the top? That's what we're going to find out. Thanks for watching. We're going to be back tonight with a Q&A. So make sure to check me out tonight, answering all of your questions. But have yourself a great Sunday.